Hey, what's up, you guys? Matt Thibeau here with Savant Marketing Agency, and in today's video, we're going to talk about 3 reasons why you should never put your price on your website. And I'm going to go into these 3 reasons, and I know that this might be a bit of a controversial topic. You know, there's a lot of other contractor coaches or other people in this space that'll say, no, you absolutely need to put your price on your website. Whereas other people will say, no, like definitely not do it. And so in this video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons that I think are really important from a marketing and sales perspective of why you might want to consider taking the prices off your website if you are doing it, or maybe it's just giving you a little bit more of a perspective, right? And so let's jump right into things here. Now, before I go into these 3 reasons that I'm going to talk about, I do want to give you a little bit of context of when maybe it does make sense to put prices on your website, because like anything, it's not black and white ever, right? And so the reason why you might want to put prices on your website is for this very specific reason, is if you have a very small team. So let's say that you're a one-man show or you have like a helper or something. And so you're a very small team and you have an influx of leads coming in through your website that are slightly unqualified, or it takes a lot of time for you to manage. And you're basically at the point where you can only handle very qualified leads that come in that are basically like, hey, here's my money, let's get to work. Like that is pretty much the only scenario where you could work with someone who, you know, you're putting prices on your site. Now, with that being said, let me get into these 3 reasons why putting prices on your website is probably the worst thing that you could do from a marketing and sales perspective. So let's jump right into things here. The number one reason why putting prices on your website, especially from a marketing perspective, is that you have no curiosity, right? I think I spelled that wrong. I don't know, whatever. You have 0 curiosity if you put your prices on your website. Here's what I mean. Let's say that someone comes to your website and they visit an ad and they're thinking like, oh wow, this guy does kitchen renovations or kitchen remodels, and they're looking at the testimonials and the pictures of your work and everything, and they're thinking, wow, I'd love to reach out to this guy and learn a little bit more about what he does. If you have pricing on your website, they can literally go to that and see, okay, that's what he costs. So that discourages them from actually reaching out to you out of curiosity and saying, hey, I'm just curious if I could get a quote, because that is basically stunting the buying cycle, right? Like if they look at the prices and they think to themselves, oh, okay, that's what he costs. Now they're not going to reach out to you. They're going to just privately talk it over with their wife or something and think to themselves, okay, can we actually do this, right? And so because of that, because you have no curiosity on your website of what it costs, then you're going to get a lot less leads come through, right? Like you're going to get less leads come through. The people who do come through are going to be qualified, but you're going to get dramatically less leads come through, which guess what? That means that your cost per lead is going to go up, right? So leads are going to get more expensive. There's going to be less of them, and people aren't going to have that curiosity to want to reach out to you. And guess what? Because they're not reaching out to you, more than likely, they're going to reach out to someone else and compare the quote. And because they are now in that person's buying cycle, that person has their information and can contact them, they're probably going to close the deal. Because most people aren't just going to reach out to you and say, hey, yeah, I saw your website and I saw your prices and I want a kitchen renovation. I've been thinking about it for 2 months now and I'm ready to go. Here's my money. Like it mostly doesn't work that way, right? People want to have a conversation. You're going to have to like walk them through that. And so by having prices on your website, basically what you're doing, if you follow Brian Diamond at all, I'm a big fan. He was saying like you're basically choking your pipeline, like you're choking your lead sales pipeline by doing that, right? Because there's no curiosity. So people aren't curious enough to reach out to you and get a quote from you, and then you can bring them through your sales process, right? Number one reason why you don't want to have prices on your website. Here's the second reason. Price anchoring. So basically with price anchoring, let's say that you say like, okay, like our bathroom remodels are from 10,000 to 50,000. and you like put that on your website. Like a lot of guys will do that, right? Well, basically what you did is now every single person who visits your site, if their budget is below 10K, then they won't reach out to you. But also, if their budget is above 50K, they also probably won't reach out to you. And so you're keeping people in this, right? And more often than not, what that's going to do is shoot you in the foot, because let's say sometimes there might be some specific cases where it could be profitable for you to take a job that's under 10K maybe. Like, I don't know your business, maybe for what you do, it could make sense. Or let's say that you have a really big job, like a client who's looking for like a lot of stuff, it's $100,000. Well, by having the 50K there, then now you're cutting off that, right? Now people aren't going to associate you with a $100,000 job. And then to which some contractors would say something like, well, that's easy, Matt. Now I can just say, yeah, we only take on projects that are 10K plus. But that still doesn't make sense, because that's actually worse now, because now all they see is the $10,000. So now they think that you're worth even less, that you're just a $10,000 type contractor, right? And so putting prices on your site, it price anchors you and keeps you stuck in a certain price range, right? Whereas as business people, we want to be able to have the option that if we do get a big job or something that comes in that's worth $100,000, that you want to actually be able to close that, right? And so that person probably won't want to reach out to you if you're price anchoring yourself and saying like, hey, we only do $10,000 to $30,000 jobs or whatever. So you're stuck there, right? And so you won't be able to land any jobs any lower or any higher. And so you're limiting yourself within a very specific range, right? And then it gets absurd. Like if you say, oh, 10,000 to 100,000, then there's basically no point of having your price on your site anyway, right? So price anchoring, super important. Second reason why you don't want to have prices on your site. Here's the last reason, number 3. So number 3 is commoditization. What I mean by this is by putting prices on your website and defining, hey, here's the price for a floor refinishing service or painting your job or whatever, what you're doing is you're selling the service and not the solution. I'll say that again. You're selling the service, but not the solution. And by selling the service, you're opening yourself up to the risk of commoditization. What is commoditization? Commoditization is where basically, from the buyer's perspective, you are no longer different or unique or have any competitive advantage over any other painter, floorer, whatever. And so basically what happens is now you come down to the problem of where people hit you up and they say, what's your price per square footage, right? Like they're reducing you down to literally just like, hey, what's your price per square footage? Like, it's just literally like you are a machine that creates this outcome I want, and what is the price? Because they see literally no difference between you to somebody else. That is the epitome of commoditization, right? And so instead, the way to get around this is by selling a solution, not a service. What does this mean? Because some people are going to say, well, what's the difference? Selling a solution is asking questions like, hey, why are you looking to get your floors done? How long have you been thinking about getting this done? Why is it important for you to get this done? What's the motivation behind all of this? And once you can get into the emotions of why they want it done, let's say maybe that their father-in-law is sick and needs a place to live or whatever, and you're going to take care of them, so you want them to come in, and they're like, you're building like an in-law suite or something like that. Now there's the emotion behind it, right? Now you understand the situation. So in your pitch, you can be the guy that's selling the job based off of fixing the solution, right? Okay, we're going to make this for your father-in-law. I know that you said that he struggles with walking properly, so we're going to put this thing in there, or he has trouble going upstairs, so we're going to have like that acorn stair lift thing. You get the deal, right? And so basically, you're not just selling the service. Sorry, one second. Gotta get some Perrier in there. Okay, we're good. And so basically, you're not just selling the service, you're selling the solution, right? And so that's why you never ever want to put your prices on your site because basically what you're doing by that is now you're no longer selling the solution, you're selling the service. You're saying, hey, bathroom remodel, it costs this much, right? And people don't buy based off of all these logical reasons. It's usually an emotional reason, right? And so you want to be able to sell them on that service based off of a solution-oriented focus thing that fixes their problems and is very personal to them. So those are the three things that I would say to consider if you're thinking about putting prices on your site. I would not recommend doing that. These three reasons are the reasons why we don't put prices on websites, why I believe that it's choking your leads pipeline. You're getting less leads. If you're trying to build a team, like if you're trying to build a sales team, if you're trying to scale your business, putting prices on your website is just going to make your leads cost more. You're going to get less of them. You're going to commoditize your service. You're going to really keep yourself stuck in price anchoring within that certain price range. And so for these reasons, I would recommend to not put prices on your website. Now, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, maybe you disagree with me, comment below. I would appreciate, though, if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys around. I hope you enjoyed this video.